Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in this video it is part 2 of the Compaq Portable II Restoration. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be done in this video, so we're just going to take a look at the recap what happened in part 1, and then we're going to start the restoration, starting with that very yellowed and destroyed keyboard. And then we're going to talk about some of the internals, and then we're going to test some stuff out, see if it works, and if everything does, we're going to be reassembling the Portable II, and hopefully by the end of this video have a functional, fully assembled, working Compaq Portable II. So let's just get started. Okay, here's the two Compaq portable machines. One that is intact and one that is not intact. This one, the intact one, just a little bit dirty. Could just use a good cleaning. And then we have one that's, well, the other one. This one is just a little bit dirty and just needs a good scrubbing with some TLC and elbow grease, which is what we're going to do. Scrub, scrub, scrub. And then I took the casing apart. And this completely surprised me that the battery just ate away into the chassis itself. I've never seen this before. But anyway, here's one of the internal cards. Actually pretty clean for what it is. And here's the main board itself, and you can see the damage. It would have ate through the traces of all the expansion slots. I don't know if this is going to be repairable or fixable. Here's the internal drives. We have the factory mini scribe drive with the floppy drive below it. Here's the damaged one. You can see it's held together with scotch tape and God knows what. Hopes and prayers. This is where I noticed the black expansion card, which I did not know what it was at the time. And yeah, it just completely falls apart. The latch style 360K drive. And the screen that has no burn-in, which is actually pretty nice. The other one does, anyway. Yeah, there's no screws holding the case on. I was kind of not surprised by that. But I was surprised to find the original business card for the original owner. I was completely shocked to see a hard card. Finally, I found one for my collection. We have the OG video card, which is in pretty nice shape, that I did notice some damage to. And here's the main board, which is a little bit different than the other one, and I'll show that here later. And here's the keyboard. Time to start cleaning. Here's the destroyed cable. Time to unscrew it. Screw, screw, screw. Screw. Yeah, I have everything sped up, because this part took several days to do just because of how many times I had to start and stop it. I couldn't quite get the case off at first, so I decided to take keys off. Now this is not the best way to take keys off with a screwdriver, but it came off pretty good, and I was happy to find out it came out intact, and it had a weird membrane type of thing to, act as a spring. Now I don't have a key puller, this is why I was being very careful with this, but luckily they all kind of popped off with a little bit of wiggle work. Yeah, the footage is extremely sped up, but yeah, some of the keys came up pretty quick, and some of them took a little bit of wiggle time. Yeah. Gonna keep taking some keys off. Got that key off. More keys. For some reason the middle row came off pretty easily. But yeah, so far, no broken keys, and I was actually pretty happy to see this. Next comes the bigger inner keys. I finally got the casing off. I didn't get any footage of that, unfortunately. But yeah, all the keys came off just fine, including the space bar. Took off the inner mechanism. I was kind of curious to see if any of these, to see how dirty it was, and yeah, it was pretty dirty. And there's the date code and production code. I was actually pretty interested to find this. There was somebody's signature. Don't know whose, but it's kind of neat, and lots of dust bunnies. I wanted to see the foam and foils because I knew these things were going to be bad, and I was quite surprised by this. Even though this is the corrosion machine, the keyboard was actually fairly intact. Everything looking pretty clean. Even the foam and foils were all intact. And yes, I stupidly touched them, but they were soft and springy still. So my hope is, this system will still work at some point in the future. Then I had to separate all of the membranes from the keycaps, and I found this. The blue ones are the enter key, which is a lighter gray one than the normal ones, which are a darker one. And then I found these little dots on the keys too. Didn't know what they were for. put them all in little baggies. And then I took the effort and time to clean every key very slowly and very carefully. And this is a comparison of the inside and outside. And yeah, they need retrobrighted, which we're going to try and do. I'm going to redeem myself from the Commodore 64 fiasco. Gonna put them all in a baggie, and ooh, they sound like Legos. Why does that joke sound familiar? Time for some peroxide. The spacebar was too big, so it's going to have to go in its own separate bag. There's the spacebar bag. And time to get them all sealed up and put them outside to retrobright. Although I do want to mention that when I put them outside, I wasn't paying attention. It's currently 1 o'clock, or I'm sorry, 12:54 when I did this. And unfortunately the weather kind of changed, so I didn't get too much sunlight trying to retrobright these. It kind of sucked. But I was able to get at least some sun on them. And I decided to try and finish them up a little bit by putting them in a pot to cook them like 8-Bit Guy does. I think it'll turn out okay. So yeah, the keys are done drying, and here's what it looks like now. Now I can still tell it's not fully done because the color does not completely match the outside of the original color, but if we compare it to the other keyboard, that is night and day. Even these gray keys are night and day. So I'm going to get the other keyboard assembled, and I want to see if the other one works just fine. Okay, so these are all the internals from the two machines. I'm going to be seeing which ones are at least look better and use those in that chassis. And hopefully I can get one working one. But anyway, we have the main boards, the video cards, the IO cards. This one has just the 360K floppy. This one came with a 50 megabyte hard card. And this one came with the original style 360K with a really strange and interesting hard drive. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, let's talk about each of these parts in general and which ones I'm going to actually use. Starting with the main boards. All right, here's the motherboard for the Compaq Portable II. Now I'm actually going to be using this one, and I'll show you why here in a second. But anyway, this is the second revision of the Compaq Portable II. The first one, the board kind of went up here a little bit with a rectangle part. The chips were laid out a little bit differently. But for the most part, both of these two boards are nearly identical. I say nearly because there is some changes done to this one. I believe this one is a little bit later model. But
We're going to take a look at this one first, because this one is the one I'm not going to use because it's got the corrosion. I believe I might be able to clean that and maybe possibly see if it'll work. Who knows? I might try that in the future. But anyway, here's the main board. Okay, so we have all the RAM over here, which, if I remember correctly, this is all bank 0, and this is bank 1. This is 640K of RAM. We have the expansion slots, which, yes, are spaced a little bit odd. These two seem to be spaced standard, you know, ATX, like what's currently modern today, with this one and this one being spaced a little bit more like what the original PC 5150 did. And I'll talk about the Portable 2 and why it makes it kind of neat when I get done. But we have the Intel 286-8, which is a pretty neat CPU because apparently it can be clocked at either 6 or 8 megahertz from a keyboard command. We have the ROM chips here, and the I googled this part number, and oddly it came up from the Compaq Portable 3, but it's basically a keyboard controller, and they're dated 82 to 88, 82 to 88. We have the DMA controllers here, and then we have the spot for the Mathco processor here. And the power delivery is from this edge connector here, which I find very interesting. We have the keyboard connector here. This is the brightness control, and then this is the... It has something to do with the internal monitor. I couldn't quite figure out what it does. I just know it's plugged into it. Now, obviously, this is not the board I'm going to use because this one's got some damage to it. But let's compare it to this one real quick. As you can see, it is subtly different. It's a little bit brighter shade of green. It still says Compaq Computer Corp 1986, but this one has an extra 16-bit expansion bus here, which I find a little bit more useful, but there's not too much stuff I can put in here that's going to be really able to utilize that 16-bit expansion. The processor is of the AMD variety, which is the 286-8/2CH. It's not faster, it's not really better, it's just, you know, this was back when AMD was making chips for Intel. We have the DMA controller. The only difference here is that this chip is a ceramic and gold one, and it's a little bit dated, a little bit older, from 85, which I believe to be the original one, except the ROM here is a little bit different. These are dated 89, with somebody handwriting 117 of 93. So this Compaq Portable, the destroyed one, was still used well into the early 90s, which I find extremely fascinating. But everything else is the same. The only difference is this uses, I don't recognize the brand of RAM chips, but it's Giant Eye, K105, P21256-8s, and these are NEC Japan's D41 256C-15s. I don't know if that translates to a speed increase or what, but yeah. So as you can tell, I'm going to be using this board, even if these two boards were identically at the same amount of, you know, lack of damage. I feel this one might have a better shot of working first time, so we'll have to see. Plus it's a little bit cleaner, plus I already spent the time of scrubbing this one, so yeah, this main board is going in that chassis. And this one I will try to resurrect at some point, or maybe I'll just steal the RAM chips off and use them for parts and something. The video cards. Now, these are very interesting cards. These are technically CGA cards, but they have the internal header for the internal monitor that Compaq needed. This one is a little bit similar to what was in the original Compaq Portable 1. In fact, I believe I had to go back and rewatch David Murray's Compaq Portable 1 restoration. I believe when he got some parts from one of his buddies, this is the type of video, it was one of the video cards I think he got as a replacement, and it was, I think he said it was a later version, because the original one was a lot bigger, had a lot more chips, a lot more consolidation. But anyway, this one is from 1985, so this is right up in towards the tail end of the original Portable 1 and into the Portable 2 life. And the only damage that was on this one is this cap is popped and it had been cut. Now, I had a thought process with this that somebody had tried, that this thing might have popped during its lifetime. They cut it, it still worked, so they left it in. So I'm going to go with that. It's in really good shape. We have the CGA connector here and the composite out. This has a lot of really neat special features that not a lot of other CGA cards can do. And I can't wait to try them out at a later date. I just want to see if this thing works. Whereas this one is a lot more sparse and it's a lot later board. In fact, as you can see, it's from 1987. But I am going to try this one first. No specific reason, just because this is what came in that other one, the clean interior one. And plus, it just looks a little bit better. I don't know why. This one just, it just seems a little off with it being so sparse. Let me rephrase this. I'm going to try this one first, and if the main board works, and it doesn't blow a cap, this one's staying in. If it does blow more caps, then it's gonna try that one. Similar story with the I/O controller boards. These are both serve the same functions. They have the floppy header, they have the Winchester hard drives to support. They both have parallel and serial. This one though is from, same as before the other ones, roughly 85. In fact, where did I see the date code on it when I was doing some research? Yeah, this is from 1985, so this is probably more likely an original one that when this thing first came, Portable 2 first came out. Yeah, now this one did not have a hard drive hooked up to this. It actually had that hard card in it. It's clean. There's no rust or tarnish on it, or no corrosion. Yeah, it looks like a really pretty clean card. This one though, I'm tempted to use this one because this is a much later one. I'm kind of intrigued by the color, almost translucent tan with almost brown traces. But this one, where's the date? 1988. So this is one of the very late I/O controller cards. Because in 1988, the reason why I say this is all kind of weird is because in 1988, 1989, that was when the Portable 3 was out. In fact, I think the Portable 3 was out in 1987, I want to say. So this still being in use is kind of interesting. So I'm going to use this one because this one, well, it's a little bit newer, so I think there might be some stuff different on it from this one that might cause some conflicts. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll try either one and see which one works. Alright, so with the floppy drives, the destroyed one came with this lovely 360K latch style. In fact, this one at some point must have had a 3.5-inch drive in it, because there's the small 4-pin. But this is the FD55 GFR, which I'm going to say this real quick. I just saw one of these on my local Facebook Marketplace from one of the vintage computer groups, and the description was the Cadillac of 360K drives. I don't know what he means by that. I don't know if it means like this is one of the better ones or what, but yeah, I want to save this one for a future project. So I'm going to be transplanting this drive here into this chassis because this one still has some corrosion on the bottom I want to get rid of. And then I want to take a look at this hard drive here because it's very fascinating. I want to take a look at it because I think there's something weird with that one. And then we have the hard card 2XL50, a probably dead one because, well, the odds of these things surviving anymore are pretty slim. But yeah, I did some research on it. This is a 50 megabyte 16-bit card, so it's actually quite an impressive machine. In fact, I think these were 91. Oh no, duh, they were red. 1990. So yeah. All right, let's get to transplanting some drives, and then we're going to start testing. And yeah, like I said, I would put this in the Portable 2, but I actually do have a couple plans that do require me to have a more, well, a pretty well working 360K drive, especially with a beige front. So yeah, I'm going to set this aside for future project stuff. The good news is I'm going to have lots of spare parts and screws after all this. Okay. And I also want to take this out to see if there's any corrosion damage. I don't see none. But yeah, this is a very interesting drive. It's very slim. And apparently it's got some sort of weird push button mechanism, so yeah, let's get this installed. Alright, so now we got that ready to install. Okay, so now I want to take a look at this hard drive. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I don't even think it works, but just take it apart and see. Spare part. Okay, we're still in this cage, which is shock mounted. That is nice. Uh-oh, there's a dab of red paint here. I'm going to void the warranty. Oh no, Compaq. Please don't void my warranty. Oh yeah. Actually, I'm going to keep that in case I decide to use it for something. Okay, everyone, so I want to explain something real quick. It's actually been a few days since I pulled this out. I'm only able to really work on this Portable 2 on like my off time, on lunch breaks and stuff, and do some quick stuff. So it's actually been a few days since I took this out of the cage. But anyway, I decided to take this thing to work and do some research on it, and blow the dust out and clean it up, make sure it was good. And it's in really good shape. So this is a mini scribe type 2, which means it's a 20 meg MFM style drive. Now, if you recall, I think I said it when I was talking about the IO controllers, those accepted Winchester. Now Winchester is sort of loosely kinda ish IDE. There's some subtle nuances there. So that's what this board is. This is a Western Digital WD 1003-IWH, which is a somewhat stupidly hard to find piece of kit right now. So what it is, it's a MFM to IDE kind of adapter board, and it only supports from the documentation 2 drives, 10 meg and 20 meg. Now I would use this. I would love to put this back in and see if it works, see what data's on it. But while I was cleaning the dust off, I noticed that on this IC chip here. Now this is I googled the part number as best I could. This is a 8K static RAM chip, and I find it very weird that that popped. I don't see any other damage on the board. I don't see any other spots that could have went wrong. So I think what happened at some point, this drive just, something shorted out, power surge, and it knocked this chip. I don't know. I am not comfortable enough yet in my soldering skills to attempt to repair this. I would love to see this thing repaired and see if it could be made working again. But I am not comfortable enough surface mount soldering ICs yet. That's going to be a future thing. So yeah. So that's why I'm not going to use this. So it's a bummer, but oh well. Okay. Hi everyone. As you can tell from the amazing beard growth here, it's been about a good, I think, a week since I've been down here at all, period, working on anything in the computer room. And it's been about a week and a half since the last time I even touched anything involving the Compaq Portable. And I think the last thing I did was talk about the possibly damaged MFM hard drive. Like I said, I don't remember exactly everything I recorded so far. I have all that footage saved on my computer in a drive. So when I get done uploading this stuff, I'll go through all my footage. So if I say anything repetitive that I've already said, that's why. I'm going to try and edit it out. But what I do remember, and I want to talk about real quick, is the keyboard snafu. I'm actually extremely ticked off at myself for losing a key. I don't know how I lost it, because they were all taken apart at the same time. They were all put in a baggie at the same time, or cleaned at the same time, put in a baggie, set outside to retrobrite, and then they were all put in that pot to kind of finish up the retrobriting process. Because the weather kind of started getting really cloudy and crappy, and I was unable to get a lot of sunlight to retrobrite them. So as a change of plans, I'm not going to be using the restored keys, the restored keyboard section for this Compaq Portable 2 yet. I'm going to use this one out of the damaged machine. Hopefully it works enough to at least test the stupid thing. As for why I have not torn this one apart or retrobrited it yet, is several reasons. One, I did not want to have 2 keyboards torn apart and get some bad components mixed in with good components or anything like that. Plus, even though I got extremely lucky taking this one apart, I don't want to run my luck with this one. I want to get a key puller before I pull this one apart, because I don't want to break any keys, especially the one key that's missing. That's the one I really don't want to break. The other reason is because the weather, like I said, has changed very drastically in my area. It's been rainy the past few days. This whole week actually has been super cloudy and about in the 50s. And the week before that, basically the day I got done retrobriting the first keyboard, the last week, whenever that was, it got cloudy the next day. So I couldn't tear this one apart anyway to retrobrite it. So, and yes, I could theoretically just put these in a pot like I did at the end of the restored one, but I did that when my kid wasn't home. I don't want to do it while my kid's home because I don't want to get pulled away helping him play with his toys or organize his toys and that kind of stuff, and forget about him and damage the keys. That's another reason. I'll have to do that when he's not home. Yeah, that being said, let's just continue on with the restoration of this. So hopefully I'll be able to power test and assemble this thing. So let's get to it. All right, so first thing is I want to get that damaged handle off this chassis. And I hope I got the right sockets and bits. Are they really T15? Do not leave those bits here. Those are for work. That's gonna be really annoying. Right, here's what's really annoying. This is all in pieces. There's that one, and then the handle part kind of just gets sandwiched between them. So yeah, but these chromes are actually in really good shape. So hopefully I can get the other one off in the same way. But yeah, I don't know if I want to reuse these off this one because these are a little bit more corroded and there's some rust right there. I don't know if I want to use these yet. Oh, and I'm right. This is really corroded and there's really no room for me to get a different bit in here, so ooh. So yeah, I'm a mechanic. When itty bitty small screws like this, especially Torx, don't want to turn, that scares me because they are a tendency to break. And yeah, these are extremely corroded. I'm not going to reuse these, but I am going to use this. Clean this up real quick. Oh yeah, that looks a lot better. Let's get this reassembled. By the way, perks of being a mechanic, you're more easily able to find perfectly sized tools for the job. See, I'm not gonna lie, I actually almost forgot about the handle situation. Oh, why? That's about it. Oh yeah. Oh, that is nice. Okay, next step. Okay, so now that I got that handle situation sorted, let's talk about some parts I'm going to be putting in here. And that is the first one, the main board. So this is the cleaner and less damaged of the Compaq Portable II boards, the one with the extra 16-bit bus. I think I mentioned that before. I don't know, like I said, I don't know what I recorded or not yet. And the later 1989 BIOS, which is marked 93. I don't know if that means that somebody reflashed these BIOS to a much later Compaq BIOS, or if that was just the last time somebody inspected and serviced this thing. Either way, that is stupidly cool. And yeah, it's also got the AMD processor. That doesn't mean too much. There's no math coprocessor yet. I do want to get a couple for some projects, but yeah, it's just because this one's got less corrosion, like no corrosion to it, and less damage. So hopefully if one's going to work, it's going to be this one, but I can't power test it until I pop it in the chassis. So I'm going to do that, and fingers crossed it worked. Holy crap, my light just worked. That scared the crap. That just scared the crap out of me. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting that. That light has not worked correctly for months, and it randomly just starts working off and on when it wants to. Oh my god! Hey, remind me to fix my audio for that later. Me, since I'm editing myself. God, Christ. Okay. Anyway, the next card I'm going to use is this green card, the video card that came out of this chassis anyway. Now, the only thing wrong with this card is this cap. I think it's I can't read it, C16, is popped and it has been cut. Now, my thought process with this is that maybe this is why this was serviced in 93, is that maybe the cap blew and they took it apart, found that it's a not necessary cap for whatever reason, cut it, and the system still worked and they decided to still use it. Or this is why it was out of service, because, well, maybe if that cap popped, what else is going to pop? So we're going to try this card first. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, I have other ones I can use. Like the one that came out of the corroded machine, which is a much later version of the video card. And yeah, the only reason why I don't want to use this is because I kind of want to try the original one that came with this machine. But since this one has a lot less caps to pop, I'm kind of hopeful that this one would work too. And if this one doesn't work because of, whatever reason, well, looky here, I got another one. So yeah, this is the one out of that destroyed Compaq Desk Pro this is the only part of it I was able to salvage. But yeah, as you can see, these are identical because the Compaq Desk Pro was basically the desktop version of the portables. As you can see, it's a little bit different shade of brown. It's a tiny bit different. Not enough to make much of a difference, but either way. So if that card doesn't work, and neither of these cards work, I have one more Compaq video card that has the right internal header, and it's in an original Compaq portable that's on the other side of this wall here. I have not started the restoration on that because I was told that the machine works, but the keyboard membranes is destroyed. They're corroded. So that's going to be a future restoration project. So yeah, I have 4 Compaq cards in case, so I have redundancies in case one of these 3 don't work. As for an I/O controller, now I have both of these that are out of both machines, and logically I would want to use the later one since it's from 1988, so it's going to have the latest hardware support. But there really wasn't too much hardware changes between when these came out in 1980, I believe 586, to when these things were no longer supported. But the reason why I'm hesitant to use this one is because I remember the hard drive having a blown SRAM chip on that MFM to Winchester adapter board. I do not know what caused that. This is the card that was plugged into it. And so you can kind of see my thought process here. I don't know if I want to use this on the risk of there's something shorted on this card that would have caused that. I want to give this thing the best chance it's going to be of powering on and working. So I'm going to use the older version of the I/O controller card. Yeah, there might be some hardware changes and support. I don't know. But since I'm not planning on popping in a hard drive, I think this will work just fine. So yeah, let's just get this thing, let's get it assembled. Okay, board's put in. Put in the video card. All right, let's smoke test it. All right. I've got just the video card and the main board in, so if anything's gonna pop, it's gonna be right here. And I got my fire extinguisher just under the bench, so. So no explosions. Ooh, ooh. Oh, yes! All 640K! This thing works! Holy crap, first shot. Oh, okay, what do we have? 304 keyboard system unit error, 601 diskette controller error, 162 system options not set, run setup, and 163 time and date not set. Okay, that's the expected ones. So let's plug in a keyboard. See if that goes away. Okay, so I have the keyboard just plugged in. I don't have it routed correctly or nothing, but I also have an XT IDE in there. So I just want to see if it'll boot and bypass all of the BIOS stuff, and then I can do something to at least test the keyboard. Because I don't have a DOS prompt. Cursor. RAM test. Oh, this is so exciting. I love this. Okay, we have 601 controller error, system options not set, and time and date not set. Okay, and it is booting the XCID, so everything seems to be working. So the keyboard error went away. This will at least let me test, the DOS prompt will at least let me test the keyboard real quick. Maybe it's hanging up on... Why is it hanging up? Huh. Let's try I don't know why I would need it, but let's just pop in the floppy controller. Maybe there's something weird with it. But maybe it needs something with the floppy controller to run XTID. Well, no, that doesn't make sense. Anyone who knows more about that could maybe explain it, but I'm at a loss. But so far, nothing's popping or blowing up. This is actually pretty neat. Diskette controller error. System options not set. Time and date not set. Okay, XTID is running. Booting C, starting MS-DOS. Oh, there. Okay, now it went. But okay, so it does need the floppy controller in here to run that. So 1, 2, 3. Oh my freaking god! No way! All the keys are working. Back. It is. All the keys are working. Oh, unlock. The keyboard's fully working. This is awesome. Let's try the floppy. And yeah, I want to clarify this right here. I actually looked up the service manual, how to tear this thing apart. I tore it apart way wrong. The reason why I was struggling taking the drive cage out was because it's supposed to come out this way, not up. So now that I got that fixed, all right. Okay, let's see if that error went away. Hey. Okay, that went away. Now it's just system options not set and time and date not set. Okay, load. Yeah, it did. Cool. Let's just see if it'll read it from a floppy. And it does. Yes. Yes. Oh, okay. Okay, so yeah, everything's so I'm gonna before I start putting this thing back together, I'm gonna go see what I can do to figure out about the setup floppy situation. I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty straightforward. Just find the right files and write them to a floppy. Shouldn't be too difficult. So go try it. It's been about 2 or 3 hours, and I had a big headache trying to get these made, and I want to talk about exactly what happened and why I was completely wrong about it being straightforward. So first off is I tried to find the setup floppy files for this. Now, there's 2 versions of the setup floppies. One is for 5 1/4 360K, and the other one is for 720K 3.5 inch floppy files. Now, how the file is supposed to work is it's an executable. You have to run it from something in a DOS command line, and it starts up a program that will automatically unpack itself and all the necessary files. It will then detect your floppy drive, and then it will automatically write the necessary floppies you need. The problem with that is that you have to have it on another thing to make these. That's the problem. So after tracking down several forums with dead-end links, I finally was able to download them. So I tried copying the files to a 3.5 inch floppy using a USB floppy adapter, and then I took it to my 46 PC because it has a 360K drive, and I tried to run it. The problem was it detected it wasn't an actual Compaq machine, so it wouldn't actually run the executable. There's a headache. So I was like, okay, I'll try and run it on my Windows XP machine. I'll just plug a 360K drive into that and try to force it to work that way. Nope, it did not want to work at all. So what I ended up doing is I actually put the files on my XT IDE adapter here. Now it detected it was a Compaq drive. Awesome, woohoo! Problem, because the BIOS was not set up, it didn't know what drive was connected to the system board. In fact, when I ran Checkit reported as the 5 1/4 drive as being OS selectable. I have no idea what that means. I've never seen that anywhere on Checkit or any screenshots of Checkit, so I had no idea what was going on there. So I was getting kind of fed up, and I was about to just say screw it and be done and just put this thing together and suffer with the time and date being wrong and it not booting correctly and not being able to read drives unless I had the XTIDE in, which means I couldn't install any other hard drive in this machine in the future. So I just happened to have LGR playing in the background for some background noise, and he was doing some updates to his IBM 5170, the PCAT, especially when he was trying to do a floppy disk upgrade and the IBM BIOS floppy wouldn't work, so he used G-Setup. I thought, hey, that's the answer to my problems. Kinda. G-Setup is actually more designed for standard IBM BIOS. Compaq BIOS in this is not standard. So basically when I ran it and I tried to set it up that it had a 5 1/4 floppy, it gave me a crap ton of memory address errors when it would boot up. But it did at least make it remember it had a 5 1/4 360K drive in it. At which point I then ran the executable again on my XTID and it made the floppies. It took me 3 hours to make these, so these better work. And in case you're wondering, no, I haven't tested these out yet because at this point I'm way too frustrated to worry about it. So I'm just gonna put the battery in and run the Compaq Portable II setup and pray to frickin' God this works. Okay, before I put the battery in case anybody else has one of these machines that takes these 3.6 volt AA sized battery, Interstate sells them. The shop I work at, the auto shop, actually is an Interstate dealer. So I was able to get this actually pretty cheap. It cost me, I think, $6.95. So I should have bought more than one. I'm probably going to. But it is a LIT20. It is a Interstate LIT 2060. And they asked me what the heck I was using this for. And when I said a computer, they thought I was nuts. So yeah, and I did check the voltage. It is 3.6 volt. So let's just see if this works and this frickin' setup floppy works, because this has been the biggest headache so far of the entire system. Insert the floppy. And I want to pull the XT IDE out, that way there's nothing interfering with that running. Please work. Okay, so F1 key. All right, it's reading. Oh God, it is, yes. Oh my God. Oh, I was extremely worried that it didn't write it correctly, because yeah, it reads floppies, but I didn't know if it was going to write the floppy correctly. Holy crap, this. Oh yes, Compaq F Utility version 8.0 DP256. Copyright 85 to 1991. This is a late revision one. Okay, cool. I'm going to continue. All right, the current date is, see if it's Y2K compliant here. And it is. Time. Okay, select the type of diskette. Drive for drive A. It is not a 1.2. That is a 360. So we're going to, cursor up. Is the VDU installed? Yes. Is a dual mode monitor attached? Yes. I believe this is a dual mode monitor, I think. That's what that is. No fixed disk. Okay. So we are good. We're going to press F3. Exit and save. Now it should reboot and not give me any errors. Yeah, system options are set. Why did it not say? Let's try the second disk, because I made 2 of them. I think that's a diagnostic disk. Okay, so why did it not save it? Alright, let's try this again. System options not set. Could that be a 1.2 meg drive? I'm gonna Google that drive real quick. Oh my God, that's a 1.2 meg drive. Okay, so yeah, let's try that. No errors, and it's trying to read the floppy. Okay, so yeah, so it's detecting that is a 1.2 meg drive and that I had the BIOS settings set wrong. Okay, that actually does help out a little bit. Okay, and now it has setup and inspect. This diagnostic detect contains setup and inspect version. Okay, so it's inspect, not diag. Okay, so yeah, that's supposed to be, should be 360K, or I thought it was, so it's 1.2. That's probably why that thing wasn't working correctly. Okay, but what's really strange about that though, is because when I wrote these floppies, it was telling me that it was formatted as a 360K. So that might have just been that the files were 360K files and it detected that and knew it, so it wrote that and forced that as a 360K. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Enter. All right, so we have machine ID 20, processor 286 at 8 megahertz, no coprocessor, current speed high. We have system ROM, S.1 02 of 07 of 89. We have keyboard ROM revision C, keyboard standard 11-bit, COM port. We have 640K with 522 kilobytes free, no limb driver. Yeah, and just the basic operating system. So now let's pull that out and see if it'll boot my DOS boot disk that I made. Control Alt Delete. Unless now it's gonna have problems reading a. Nope, starting MS-DOS. Sweet, the floppy drive works. Yeah. Oh, and look at that. Current date, 10/23. Current time is 12:38 p.m. MS-DOS version 6.22. Absolutely. Directory. Hell yeah. I'm happy with that. Cool. Okay. Let's assemble it now. Probably should put Phillips on his expansion cards, but I think what I'll do is I'll use the Torx for the video card and the video or IO card. Okay. And one thing I want to try at some point is an IDE drive, but the problem is I don't know if the cable would wrap around over here for the same style one that I have in the AT. So what I might do is see if I can find somebody who can 3D print and pop this cover out and 3D print one with a slot for a CF card, and then use that drive cage I saved, put it right here. That way I can just pull the card in and out for a hard drive. Okay. Route this through. I did notice one thing. Actually, I noticed it pretty recently. As I'm putting this front cover on, one of these internal standoffs is broken and gone. But I saved them from the broken one. So what I might do is I might try and epoxy or super glue it in the future. I don't want to try that right now because I don't have any the correct epoxy. The only epoxy I have anymore is a very, very slow curing, like 24 to 48 hour dry time one. And that's a no. But that's fine because it's just holding this front faceplate on. As long as I don't crank these on too hard, I shouldn't break another one. Starting to look like a real computer again, everybody. Okay, and I do want to mention that, yes, I do not want to permanently use this keyboard. It's literally just for now until I can get next spring. I'll retro-bright this one, or at least these keycaps. Yeah, I decided to leave the little sticker on here because it's kind of a neat little bit of its personal history. How did this go together? I know it coils up in here. There we go. Yeah, it won't be too bad to replace that keyboard later. It really won't. Not when it's literally just a few screws. All right, see if everything works. And no errors. All right, let's run check it. All right, we have a 286 AT machine, 640K with 441 available. No expanded, no extended. CGA with 80 by 25 color. 61 meg C drive, 1.2 floppy drive. Clock and calendar is present. We have parallel serial, no game, no mouse. Cool. Let's run system performance. I'm curious. This is running 8 megahertz. I don't remember what the way is to get it off of. There's a way to turbo it down using a key command. It's like Control Alt negative or Control Alt minus. It's something. We have video of 5917. We have dry stones of 1517. So this is actually a tiny bit more powerful than 88 megahertz. And for wet stones we have 30.7K. I need to compare that to the AT when I ran this. All right, let's try out some games. I need to get a different tripod. This one's kind of like just a generic cheap one. That's why I keep bumping it all the time. All right. What games are on my XTID device? And yeah, I know this is not the best way to play games. I need to figure out what games work good on a 286, because I might run into the same problem I had on the ATs, that things might either run too fast or not want to start because they're wanting to be in EGA mode. So let's try SimCity. Oops. I forgot that I didn't change the name of that yet. What was the switch again? It was D, so I would need C. Can't load. What do you mean you can't load CJ blocks? What about DH? Hurricane's not detected. Okay, so SimCity's out because it won't load Hercules mode, it won't load CGA, and I don't think it'll even load low-res EGA, but I can try it. Yeah, well, it just kind of froze, that's why I'm, oops. So it should be /D. Should be just DE for low-res EGA. Yes. Which it won't do because this is a CJ monitor. Never mind. Oh man, I'm stupid. Yeah, CJ is not working, or CJ. SimCity is not working at all. Let's try something else. I just want to see a game run on here. Let's try. What about F15? Or is that going to run too fast for this? Okay, there we go. Oh, this is the guy being. Ooh, is this going to work? Should. I believe it'd be 1. Ooh. Ooh, ah. Alright, that 15 works. Cool. What about, oops. Let's try this one. Okay, let's try at least 2 games I know will work on here. We're going to do CGA, PC speaker. Oh yeah. This actually looks pretty good. Like it's monochrome. So it's kind of, you know, there's no color variance, but this looks actually pretty good. Can't build those out. Okay. There's no sound. There's no music. What's the music sound like, real quick? Not bad. And let's try this one. Okay, we have pesky robots. We're CGA, so we're gonna have to do. Ooh, could I run number 2 on this? Let's try it. Nope. Let's try with 3. Yeah, 3. 3. There we go. Now see, that looks pretty good too. Okay, so yeah, I need to, okay, I have to go through, like, some things and figure out exactly what games would run on this machine. Not just because it's a CGA machine, but also because it's a 286 machine, which is kind of a weird combination because obviously some games aren't wanting to load because they're trying to load an EGA tile set, which it can't. I don't know why SimCity doesn't want to do CGA. But, yeah, I need to go through all my DOS games that I have. I have a folder of 524 80s DOS games that are from all over the 80s. I just need to figure out what the sweet spot would be for games for this. Because, and to be fair also, that I kind of have, I made that for the XT clone. So a lot of games on that would run on a Turbo XT because it's got the correct, yeah. But I do want to try one thing. I want to try this. Yeah, this is a hard card that came out of the destroyed machine, and you know what? I've had pretty good luck with everything on this machine working. The screen's good, the floppy drive's good, the keyboard's working. The only thing I had wrong was the losing, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna try and see if this works, and if it does, awesome. But let's just find out. All right. Moment of truth. Ooh. Don't know if you can hear that from the mic because it's facing the different, but I hear it spinning up. And I hear the head seeking. There's no way. There's no flipping way it's going to work. Yeah, I don't think it's going to. Oh! Plus car. Oh my, no way. Stacker 3.0. Swap drive. See, it's a draw. Mouse board. What? It's working? No way. It's a working hard card. Oh, what's on here? So there's a C and D drive. C drive is stack volume disk. Yeah, whatever. 123 R23 modem X-Tree TIF OWP, whatever that is. MIC ABC. DREST AutoExec.bat. It has some personal information on it because I see somebody's name here, but we have DOS. We have Windows. We have LL3. What is LL3? Oh, that's so cool. What about the D drive? What's in D drive? Nothing. Volume of drive D is Compaq 2. Stacker, DOS, HiMem. What's a demo? Disk 1 directory, disk 2 directory. What's... Now that this thing's fully assembled, let's take some look at some post restoration shots to see how clean this thing turned out and how well it looks now, especially when we look back at how destroyed the two machines were at the beginning of the video. One being externally destroyed with questionable internal parts, with the other one being clean externally, but the interior was destroyed from a battery. And from those two machines, I was able to build a fully functional and working, and 98% restored anyway, Compaq Portable 2. I'm super excited to have a machine like this that was able to just work, in my collection now. This entire video was just a flippin' roller coaster from beginning to end, ranging all the way from the worst being broken casing, chassis being away from exploded battery, the hard drive having a blown IC, the floppy drive's taking, or the floppy set of floppies taking forever to frickin' get sorted out. I was expecting so much worse too. I was expecting the chassis to be twisted or bent. I was expecting the CRT to be cracked and blow up basically. But on the other side of that roller coaster, everything just worked. The floppy drive, read and wrote a disk just fine. The main board didn't blow a cap. The video card worked perfectly. The keyboard, which is a huge surprise, foam and foil, works just fine. Obviously, I might, compare the two later on and whatever. And the biggest surprise of the entire video was that this flippin' hard card, the only hard card I've ever found, works just fine. And I actually had this thing running for about half an hour down here, just to see if it would do anything, and it works just fine. Obviously, there's some personal data on here I want to get off, but that's all future stuff. Speaking of future stuff, future plans for this thing is I want to finish the keyboard, get that fully 100% restored. That way it can be 100% restored. Because I do want to do a retrospective review of this machine in the future. I want to run some productivity software like Lotus 123, some typing stuff. Try some running some games on here that I know would work. benchmark it against the 5170, which is cloned, you know, just do a whole bunch of stuff like that. One of the change of plans with the future plans I have is I'm going to use this hard card. I'm going to pull all the data off that I can, archive it on archive.org, and then I'm going to format it and install. I'm going to install MS-DOS 5.0 or 6.22, one of them, and install it in here because this is going to be the hard drive for it. Yes, it's going to make installing like games and software and stuff a pain in the butt because I'll have to use the floppy drive to actually put data to it. But that'll be fine because that means this will be a error correct machine, which I'm more than excited for. But anyway, yes. With that being said, this was a super fun video to do, and actually I think it's going to be one of my longer videos if I'm thinking correctly from how much footage I have. So that being said, thank you all for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, I want your questions, comments, and thoughts down below on this machine. Anything, you know, what operating system to run on it, what games would run on it, what proximity software to try and run on it, any questions you have on like anything that went wrong or went right, put down below and I'll get to it in a somewhat reasonable fashion. And that being said, again, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.